The Workforce HR and Training Group is organizing for a trainer of the trainer course to help trainers, facilitators, managers, coaches improve on their training and facilitation skills. We are going to be organizing a 2 days training whereby you can be able to perfect your training skills so that you can be able to effectively reach out to your target audience. You can be able to effectively pass on the content as intended. So we'll be looking at various topics. Number one, we're going to be looking at the fundamentals of training, the science behind training, the science behind passing a message in an effective manner. We are going to be looking at the fundamentals of facilitation and what is the difference between training and facilitation and coaching as well. There's a difference. We're also going to be looking at the types of training. We're going to be looking at adult learning. It's very different from how you are taught in school. How you teach children is different from how you teach adults. What is the difference? We're going to look at that. We're also going to look at conducting a training needs analysis, which is also called a TNA. How do you establish that there's a training need in an organization? How do you establish that this employee requires this type of training? How do you establish the type of needs that your participants want? How do you meet the need if you had not prepared for it in your training content? How do you make sure you align your training needs with the participants' needs? How do you ensure that you have a natural flow when you're training or facilitating? How do you keep the audience engaged? How do you keep the flow of the communication without losing interest? How do you endure yourself to different types of audiences within the same group? How do you handle different diversities? Probably you're dealing with different age groups in the same audience, different educational backgrounds, different socialization backgrounds. How do you manage to pass on the same message across the different diversities? How do you leverage on communication when you're training or facilitating? How do you identify suitable resource persons who can effectively train in your organization? What criteria do you use? How do you use visual aids to complement your training? How do you use modern technology to complement your training? In other words, how do you use digital transformation to complement your training? How do you use icebreakers, activities, exercise files to keep the engagement? Because the adult span is very short. How do you make sure you don't lose interest of the participants? What happens when a participant knows more than you do? What do you do? How do you handle such a situation? How do you conduct a pre-assignment analysis and a post-assessment analysis to evaluate the success of your training? How do you make sure that your training was effective and that it took place? That means How do you measure your return on? How does the client, or how do you measure the return on investment? So that is breakdown of our train of trainer course. I urge you to sign up. I urge you to look out for our program, which will be rolled out soon. And in case you need any in-house facilitation, please reach out to us on 0701 43 10 89. I'm your coach, Coach Beatrice, and I've been training for more than 15 years, and I look forward to working with the organization.